This Tuesday morning edition of Pucks Across Borders on Sports Addict Live and Total Apex Sports. Brought to you by the one, the only First Round Collectibles. Right now with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. What's your favorite sport? Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, maybe even boxing. Whatever it is, you can get it at firstroundcollectibles.com. And with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off your order. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off dozens and dozens and dozens of cards across the store. And with our promo code Sports Addict, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. That's the number one, STRoundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins. Can't relax. Original. I am not the same as these cats. I sting
And welcome to Pucks Across Borders on a Tuesday morning. Rainy and overcast here. Hopefully it's beautiful wherever you are. You're watching on Sports Addict Live and Total Apex Sports, brought to you by First Round Collectibles. 2 games to get into from last night and 2 more games tonight. Gentlemen, we won't be able to say that for long. Less than a week, and there will be 1 game a night. We are getting down to the nitty-gritty of the NHL playoffs. Lots to get into, but before we do, of course, at the top of your screen, right next to me, you read his work about the NFL on Gridiron Heroics. You read his gambling picks on Winners and Winers. You read his work on many, many sports on TotalApexSports.com, and you see him all over Total Apex Sports, talking football, basketball, baseball. The man does it all. Andre, how are you feeling on a Tuesday, bro?
My palms are sweaty, my knees are weak, and my arms are heavy.
Oh.
But no, I've been better, but I've been worse, so it's all right.
I kind of feel like spaghetti now. A little spaghetti for breakfast. At the bottom of your screen, you read his work about the NFL on Gridiron Heroics. John, how you feeling on a Tuesday, bro?
The weather is nicer here, but I think in the hearts and minds of my local hockey fans in this area, it's not so much. Yeah.
Hey, man, you might be getting Sheldon Keefe soon. Look at you.
Yeah. No, I mean, I live close enough to where there's a decent amount of Rangers fans in this area, too. So it's in the hockey world, it's not the best day.
Yeah, well, hey, man, that's a wonderful segue. Let's just dive right into it. Rangers lose last night to the Carolina Hurricanes in a fourth period where I don't really know, or a third period. Did I say fourth period? Third period. When I don't know if the Canes just like were shot out of a cannon or if the Rangers just fell asleep. Like, I'm not too sure what exactly happened there. Andre, unfortunately, we got to start with you, man. What did you see specifically in that third period? Because I thought it was a good game. I thought the Rangers played well. I'm really impressed, especially in that first period where the Canes put up a bunch of shots like they do. The Rangers didn't look overwhelmed. They're just content with however the game comes. They're going to deal with it. And I was never worried about the Rangers losing that hockey game the whole way through. I thought the Rangers were going to win, felt like they were going to win. But then the third period happened. Walk us through. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, so that third period left a really sour taste in my mouth, so I'm going to try not to be too dramatic here. First thing, Jordan Stahl, hell of a game. Hats off to you. You were incredible from start to finish. You're a captain. That's what you're supposed to do to keep your season alive. So kudos to you. Freddie Anderson had his best game of the series. Their penalty kill has completely shut down the Rangers' power play, and now when you're on the man advantage for both teams, it's almost like you don't want to be there. Carolina played great. They kept their season alive. They are still a great team. Probably shouldn't have wrote them off so soon. And this was never going to be easy. What I saw in that third period, coming out, one of the Rangers assistant coaches said, this third period is going to be about defensive hockey. It's going to be about playing well defensively. First red flag. You're up 1-0. Play the same game. Play to win the period. 1-0 is not a lead. 1-0 is a one bad bounce and you lose this game. So that's the first red flag. Braden Schneider, you're 22 years old. Why are you skating lazy in the third period of an elimination game? Like, you became a revolving door for Jordan Staal to tie up the game. Like, you pushed your outside shoulder, came out on the other side, right in Igor's kitchen. Goal, tie game. Artemi Panarin, lazy skating, let Kuznetsov get in the rebound, giving the Hurricanes the lead. It was almost like a sense of entitlement from the Rangers, a sense of, oh, we're in the next round already, like a little bit of arrogance, and they don't deserve to have that. And the Canes are a great team. You're not just going to coast through and win this series. Every time they've emptied the net, they've scored, except for the one time where they got a power play and Kuznetsov tripped somebody immediately after and ruined it. Like, they're not going away. You're not going to put them down easy. And it just seems like they went up 1-0, came on third, thought the series was wrapped up. It was embarrassing. This is the same team that choked last year in the first round against the Devils, the same team that choked 2 years ago in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Lightning. They were up 2-0 in both of those series. They were up in Game 3 of both of those series and ended up losing them. You don't finish. You don't have a killer instinct. You don't have the reputation as chokers yet, but you're very close to getting there. So best thing I can hope for is they're as pissed off as most Rangers fans and most people that love this team are right now. They've regrouped with the extra day off. Filipino was able to come back for Game 6. And they played their best game of the series. They have their blowout win that they haven't had yet in this series. And they finish it off on the road because them and the Knicks seem allergic to closing out series in the Garden. That's the best thing I can hope for. But what I saw in that third period just left a really sour taste in my mouth. And I just don't like it, especially with the way their season ended the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, I said this 1,000 times. Like, that's why I was really surprised. Like, I really felt like, and still do, but I just felt like what happened last year, and I didn't even think about the year before. You're absolutely right. In the conference final, I just felt like this team had just like, they were just pissed. And they were going to come out and get the job done, see red, and just figure it out. And you're right. Like, 1-0, like, you can't play defensively. Like, obviously, you always play defensively. Like, that goes without being said. But you can't just sit back on a 1-0 lead against the Carolina Hurricanes. Like, you just can't do it. Like, that's like a no-brainer. I'm not worried about the Rangers, but clearly you got to win that next game. Because if this goes to a Game 7, that's a crapshoot. And listen, all I can say, Andre, is I don't know if this is too, like, superstitious for you, or if what the deal is, if you feel like you'd be jinxing your team. But if you need some relief, the Hurricanes are plus 200 to win the series. So if you want to put a little hedge, and then if all your dreams come crashing down, at least, you tripled your money. I guess that's I think that it'll be a donation. I think the Rangers will close out this series, but hey, it's an emotional hedge. You know what I mean?
It would make me feel better if our only goal from last night wasn't a shorthander, a shorty by Jacob Trouba of all people.
That's a great
That's
point.
just
Yeah.
that's just such a alarming statistic.
Yeah, that's a great point. And no disrespect to Jordan Stahl. The guy is a legend in Carolina. He's been playing in the NHL for a long, long time. All those Stahl brothers have had terrific, terrific careers. Schneider, like, you're 22, dude. Like, it's like you're like, no disrespect to Jordan Stahl. He's a big dude. He's a strong dude, but like, he's old. He's an old dude. And you should have a step on him. John, what about you, man? What'd you see in that game?
I think the third period last night was about the sloppiest period from the Rangers I've seen in the entire playoffs.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't mean to sound so harsh on Andre's team, but I just don't think they played good hockey at all. And I agree with him. I think they got a little comfortable being up 1-0 and probably saw the light at the end of the tunnel before they got through the tunnel. Two notable goals in the third period that came up for me was like the Kuznetsov goal that Andre touched on. I felt like they left the net halfway open, and Andre's right. Nobody was really there to protect Igor after making the first save because he had to stop, let a rebound go, but nobody was really there to help him out. And Kuznetsov took advantage of a wide open, not only a wide open net, but the entire right side of the net was like perfectly exposed for him. And the third goal was even worse. I think that's one of the worst goals the Rangers gave up in the entire series because, like, I think the Rangers were on a power play or something, and like, I don't know if I remember that right, but the Rangers had the puck in their own zone. They were trying to clear it, and I think honestly the pass was a bit lazy. Carolina took advantage of it, got the turnover, and got a big goal to give them the insurance they needed. And I don't know if I'm reading too much into this, but I think the fact they pulled Igor with almost 4 minutes to go in the game is a little bit alarming because I think it said to me at least that they're not confident in their offense at all. And I guess they shouldn't be the way they were playing last night, at least. Because I felt like it was a very early pull. I know they were down by 2 goals, but still, with about almost 4 minutes to play in the game and you're pulling the goalie already, I see it as a desperation move. Like I said, the Rangers probably had the sloppiest period they've had in their entire playoff run so far. I'm a little bit surprised it happened because I felt like they were past this point. I felt like they were past this point of giving up a lead and not being able to close it out because, like, I was singing their praises at the end of Game 3 of the series because they were doing the things they couldn't do last year in Game 2 and Game 3. Game 2, they won in double overtime despite getting outshot by nearly double the amount of shots on goal. Game 3, they took Carolina changed their goalie. They switched to the rookie. That was the spot the Rangers fell last year, and the Rangers still closed the door on them winning by 1 goal and got the clutch goal when it mattered most. That's why I felt a little more confident the Rangers would close the door on the Canes and not allow them to open it up. But to play devil's advocate, I said on the show yesterday, if there's one, I felt like it was a must-win game for the Rangers last night to an extent, because I feel like the Canes are not a team you want to open the door back up to. Whereas if the Bruins somehow win this game tonight against Florida, and we'll get to that later, I don't think they're winning the entire series. Whereas I felt like if the Canes won last night's game, there's a real opening that they can come back and make a historic run. And I'm not saying they will, but I think what I am saying is we have a series there now. Whereas when the Rangers were up 3-0, I didn't really feel that way.
Well, for the Rangers, this is a wake-up call, right?
Yes.
Like, this is like, hey, boys, like, we still got some hockey to play here. Like, let's go. I think with the goalie being pulled when they did it, and Andre, I don't know if you would disagree with me, but like watching that game, like the fact that the Hurricanes outshot the Rangers is not a crazy thing to me. Like, that's just kind of par for the course. That's what the Hurricanes do. And the Rangers don't really care about that. Like, they want high quality chances. They're not really worried about the quantity. That being said, the Rangers only had 21 shots on goal last night. So, like, and not a lot of high quality chances, right? Like, there were some good saves by Freddie. I would say that was probably his most solid game all around of the postseason so far, at least this series. But to me, that was just like, yo, we're getting nothing. We're down 2 goals. Let's just pull the goalie and try to get something happening here. Because, like, we are just getting nothing right now. The Hurricanes didn't really have a lot of good chances either. I thought Shesterkin made some good saves, but the Hurricanes only got 28 shots last night. It's not like they, blew the doors off
They
either.
took advantage of Rangers' mistakes, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. And if you're Shesterkin, it's like, hey, boys, like, I've been really good. Like, I've been really, really good. If you guys can just, like, score more than 1 goal in an elimination game, I'd really appreciate that. Like, you know what I mean? But hey, Game 6 tomorrow night. I'm gonna keep pumping the Rangers tires, and you know what, man? Last night, it's really funny because last night, minus money, but the Rangers were again underdogs, but they were minus money last night. Well, guess what? The series is going back to Raleigh, and at last I looked, they were plus 140. Let me look again. Plus 142. So we'll see what happens. All right. One more game to get into from last night. Colorado, Dallas. Dallas 4-1 win with the empty net goal at the end. So we got to talk about the Valerie Nichushkin incident. An hour before puck drop, it is revealed that he has been suspended for 6 months, violating the drug policy and the player assistant, going back into the player's assistant program. I have a hard time with this game. So if you watch the game itself, Dallas played very, very well. Dallas came out, I think, even if Colorado had their top game, not that Dallas would for sure win, but that was going to be a really, really hard fought game. I thought Dallas played very well. Ottinger played very well. My guy, Wyatt Johnston, 2 goals last night. So from the Dallas side of things, I thought they played really well. On the Colorado side of things, we don't know all the facts. It's believed that he failed a drug test, and that's like why we're here right now. Suspended for 6 months. We don't know all the facts. We don't know the demons that he's battling. I will say this. I mean, right in my Twitter handle, and when I'm not doing the NHL in the summer, you can watch my Sports Addict live show. Like, I'll just be blunt and just say it straight up. I'm really not worried about it. Like, I'm like a recovering drug addict myself, and I know what facing that is like, and it's really hard. And we're dealing with human beings here, and so we don't know the full extent. And I don't want to be too dramatic in case it's not what we all might think it is. But, you know, when you're battling those things and you have brothers around you, friends around you, family around you, it's hard on them as much as it's hard on you. And that doesn't really get taken into account too much. And to find out that your brother and your teammate is going through this an hour before puck drop, They knew he was battling this before. He missed the playoffs last year. Same thing, right? So to me, I thought Kyle McCarr last night was a shell of himself. I thought he played one of the worst games I've seen him play in a long time. It's hard for me going through what I've gone through and knowing what that battle was like for me. It's hard for me to judge this game last night. And maybe I'm being too dramatic. Maybe I'm like, I don't know, looking too deep into it. But to me, it like the Avalanche, just plain and simple, were not good last night. They did not play well. They had some good chances here and there, but they did not play a good hockey game. I don't think I even heard Nathan McKinnon's name until the second period. And so, yes, slow starts are the trademark for this whole series. This is not just last night. Like, they've been starting slow for this whole series, and Dallas has been jumping on them right from game one. Colorado has not. Oh, sorry, 5-1 was the final score. Colorado has not led for 1 minute in this series. The game they won in overtime. So, like, it's not. I'm not trying to pin it all on that, but that performance from the Avalanche last night was a whole nother level. And to me, it's hard to pick it apart, knowing and not knowing like what the emotions and the vibe was like in that locker room. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, what do you say? Like, your brother, like, you just found, like, it's just a really, really tough situation. Thoughts and prayers go out to him, and I'm pulling for him. He's a terrific, terrific player, and he's a game changer. More importantly, he's a human being. So we do hope that he's doing okay, and we are praying for him moving forward. John, I see you're ready to go there, man. What do you got on this?
This is a tough situation, assuming what we think it is. I don't want to say it definitely is, but I think we have a good idea based on the language that was used and how it was covered by ESPN and other networks last night. So let's just assume that it is what it is. First of all, I hope the guy gets the help he needs and mentally recovers from this, because this could be a very drastic event in his life. So I hope he does get the support and gets to a better place soon. As far as the game goes last night, it's hard. I agree with Mark. It's hard for me to cover anything on the ice with this one, because I think this is just such a big event that happens so suddenly before the game that looms over the head. And I was saying this last night when the three of us found out about it. I tend to believe these events go one of two ways when it comes to athletes dealing with an event from one of their teammates, a significant event like this. It's like either they play emotionally and play angry to an extent and have the performance of their lives, or it goes the other way and they completely check out. Because at the end of the day, look, this is just a game where you pass a puck on the ice. We're dealing with real life here. And I think the latter happened last night for the Avalanche. Not to say that they haven't been getting outplayed before last night's game, but I have to believe the Avalanche were just not there mentally last night. That's my take on it, at least. And like, maybe this event was looming for a couple of days. We don't know, because the Avalanche didn't look that great in game 3 either. So maybe this was looming ever since they got back to Colorado, at the very least. I think you're on mute.
Sorry, guys. It's an important point to make, John, that this is not taking anything away from Dallas. These guys
No,
have been,
yeah, I don't want to.
yeah,
I don't
they've been
want to mock Dallas
playing,
or anything.
they've been playing out of their minds.
Their performance.
No, they've been playing out of their minds, but you can't take away that situation, man. Like, that's like, and we saw it on the ice. Like, listen, Cale Makar is legit. Like, let's not, like, this is not some crazy, and we're all like, we never saw this player play live because we were all born in the late 80s or sooner than that. But this guy's the next Bobby Orr, man. Like Cale Makar, and I'm not the ones, like really, really well-respected hockey minds are saying this, not some bum in his apartment in Toronto. Like some legit people are saying this. Like Cale Makar looks good every night, and he looked like a shell of himself last night. And so I think that says something. Andre, do you got anything to add to this, man?
I think the fact that the Stars for 9 games now have played tremendous hockey, and the main takeaway from last night is Valeri Nichushkin just speaks to just how big this is and everything going on. And they're not going to say it affected them, but Jack Johnson? I think he said something to the effect of, "We focus on the guys in the room. We have a lot of good people here."
Yeah.
They took their nameplate out of that locker room already. They're hurt. They're hurting, and understandably so. And it's a different tone from last year, where last year I felt like they were defending him, and he was still part of the family. Now it feels like they broke up with a member of their family, like they had to distance themselves, and that's not easy to do, especially not in a high stakes, high pressure environment such as the Stanley Cup playoffs, when you're trailing in the series and you've been trailing every single second of the series. So it's a tough situation for Colorado. It's a very talented group, but they're going through a lot personally, whether they admit it or not. And I hope Nichushkin, wish the best for him. Stage 3 of this program isn't something that most people even knew existed. So clearly there's something there that needs to change as far as his behavior. And for this team, maybe they don't regroup, but some things are bigger than hockey. So best for them moving forward as well. Maybe they can have some healing with an early off season, or maybe they turn it around and just win in spite of this. Who knows? But moving forward, talking about Game 5 tomorrow, and then whatever else the future has in store for that Avalanche team, it's going to be an uphill climb. And the Stars aren't really going to care what's going on in that locker room. If you're talking about what's happening on the ice, they're there to do a job, and that's to win the Stanley Cup. So,
well, that's the thing, right? Like the Stars, like they're like, a lot of these guys, like they're friends, right? If I remember correctly, Nichushkin played for Dallas for quite a few years. I don't know how many of those players were on the team when he was on the team. I'm sure he's friends with guys in that locker room, but when it comes to on the ice, Dallas has been the better team all series long. Before any news broke about this is what I was worried about. Like Colorado hadn't started on time all series. They clawed back from deep holes, but you can only do that so much. So last night, the situation was what it was. But right from puck drop of this series, Dallas has been the better team. And I mean, listen, tomorrow night, we're seeing these odds, Florida, Boston. We're seeing these odds, Carolina's been like minus 166 and in the minus 170s. And we're seeing the Edmonton Oilers still minus, like, what was it, 218 today or something crazy like that. Dallas is minus 142. And Colorado's only plus 120. So there's still respect for Colorado coming from the books, and rightfully so. So we'll see what happens in that tomorrow. Like we said, thoughts and prayers to him and his family. And like I said, like we don't know what exactly the situation is. But I know like my struggles with addiction and my battle and what I've faced. And so my heart goes out to him based on what I've gone through. So all that stuff has to be said. It's bigger than hockey. But we do a hockey show, and we're going to get back to the puck talk. And the action is back on the ice in Florida tonight, where the Florida Panthers are minus. Whoa, that's not the Florida Panthers. These are the. What is happening? I'm blind apparently over here. Minus 218. And that actually has flipped. There's quite a bit of Boston money coming in. Florida is now minus 205, while the Panthers are plus 170 now. The over is 5.5 at minus 105, and the under is minus 115. Plus 1.5 for the Bruins is minus 148. Minus 1.5 for the Panthers is plus 124. Andre, let's start with you, man. What do you see in this game tonight?
Game over. That's what I see. Just wrap it up. Boston, get your revenge. Go down swinging. Do what you got to do. But we've seen your best, and it's not nearly good enough. In Game 4, they took a nice 2-0 lead very early in the first period.
Yep. They
finished that game with 18 shots. The Panthers only scored one power play goal, controversially at that, but they had 6 chances. The Bruins are just getting outskated, and no amount of physicality, no amount of hits. Actually, circling back to that power play thing, the refs were kind of weird and weak during Game 4. But, I mean, no amount of physicality, no amount of wanting to fight and scrum and whatever for the Bruins is going to change the fact that they're slower, they're less skilled, and just flat out not as good. And even in net, where they have 2 fantastic Vezina candidate goalies, they don't even have a clear edge there. So my challenge for Boston in this game, season on the line, with or without Marchand, I think he's still out with the concussion thing. Not really sure. But regardless, my challenge for the Boston Bruins tonight is to get 20 shots on goal, because it's 3 straight games where you have not done that. And it's 3 straight games where you haven't scored more than 2 goals. And then you obviously go back to the Leafs series again, where they struggled at the end of that one. Last 3 games, they combined for 4 goals, and that includes an overtime period. So this offense is absolutely ice cold. They're basically what the Rangers and Hurricanes power plays are, but for the entirety of 60 minutes. So give me Panthers minus 1.5. Series over. The over might squeak by like a 4-2 total, but so I'm going to stay away from that. But I have no doubt in my mind the Panthers are going to win this game. They're going to win it in 60 minutes, and probably because of an empty netter, they're going to win it by multiple goals.
John, what about you, man? What do you see in this game tonight?
I think I was the most resistant to say this was going to be a short series early on, but I swear after Game 4, I'm like, yeah, this is over. I think the combination of Marchand being out, I don't expect him to be back tonight. I think that's a killer for the Bruins, and not that he was playing out of his mind or anything, but Mark, I think you said this on the last show we talked about the Bruins. Boston really just can't afford to lose anybody right now. They don't have the depth that the Panthers have, in my opinion. Florida, I just think they're outplaying them. I think this has also been the most lopsided series of the 4, outside of a strange Game 1 where I guess the Panthers were just rusty. Swayman, I'm not pinning this on him. He hasn't played too badly, despite the number of goals he's allowed of late. I just don't think he's getting any help. I think after Game 4, Boston, I don't think they even had business scoring 2 goals in that game. I think they were rather fortunate. The game was as close as it was. So I'm thinking, I don't even think the Panthers will need an empty net goal. I think this will be a puck line bet easy. Florida wins by 2, in my opinion. And I think after the Rangers didn't close out last night, I think the Panthers close out tonight, and they're the first team to move on.
Yeah, plus 124 for minus 1.5 is pretty short odds for a puck line. And I like it here as well. Just quickly looking online right now, I'm seeing nothing from today. about Brad Marchand. So, and I do love, like, we say this all the time, but the guy gets punched in the head, but he's out with an upper body injury. Don't want to say what injury, but it's upper body. Yeah, like the most upper of the body. Like the guy got punched in the head. What do you mean? What do you mean upper body? But yeah, so I don't know the status for him. I think you're right, though. Probably not going to play tonight. Plain and simple. Boston's depth is really haunting them. Jake DeBrusk is about the only guy not named David Pastrnak who's really doing much of anything, and most of that is on the power play. Yes, Charlie Coyle got a goal in the series, but yeah, they're just not generating offensively. This is not the big bad Bruins of a few years ago. They can't match anything that Florida has to go their way. I really don't have much to say about this game. I think it's over for Boston. I think Panthers -1.5 is an excellent play. As far as the total goes, they're both minus money, which kind of tells you that nobody really knows what to make of these totals. I would probably lean under, just elimination game. Boston's not completely, like, they're a decent defensive team. I mean Swayman is gonna have the night of his life. I don't know if you guys saw what his save. Oh, he's not. They're doing this again. He's not even listed on DraftKings yet. They're so like, playoffs. Anyway, but to your point, Andre, about the 18 shots, getting more than 20 shots, Sergei Bobrovsky's save total is 22.5. So the books are really like, that's a really difficult number, which is weird. Like over 2.5 is -120, but under 22.5 is -110. So it's like both of those things could happen. But yeah, I'm taking Florida too. -1.5 at +124. All right, one more game, the nightcap, and we talked about it pre-show. Oh my goodness gracious, that is the biggest spider that I have ever seen. It's not even a spider. What is that? I know we're live right now, but that is,
It's a scorpion.
dude, it looks like some like African bug. I have no idea what that is.
Did you get one of those
Live
spiders?
Yeah, this is like National Geographic. That is disgusting. All right, I gotta keep focus here. Okay, that is wild. Vancouver +170. Edmonton Oilers -205. The over is 6.5 at +100. The under is -120. +1.5 is -142 for Vancouver. -1.5 for the Oilers is +120. Andre, what do you got in this game?
They keep giving us Vancouver plus money, man. I mean, on the one hand, do you see the Oilers as currently constructed, or I guess as the Vancouver Canucks are currently constructed, taking the 3-1 lead? Probably not. At the same time, Vancouver is playing pretty well. Arguably, at least I believe so, outplaying the Oilers in this series. We've seen Edmonton already pull out their trump card. They put the big boys all on one line together, and that still has them in a 2-1 hole. So better goalie for sure, based on what we've seen so far. Talking about Shiloh's over Skinner, and I'm gonna stay with it. So Canucks +170, it's great value. They've won 2 of the first 3 in this series. The one that they lost, they arguably should have won. It took McDavid, it took Draisaitl, it took heroics for the Oilers to take that in overtime. I have no reason to believe in this Oilers team right now based on their goalie alone. And that doesn't include the fact that CC and Nurse are also struggling. That doesn't include the fact that some other guys have disappeared. Canucks money line over 6.5 is plus 100. I like that too. And John, I know you were hesitant about this game. What do you think?
Oh man, so I don't know if it was like earlier in the show or before we got on the air. Seeing the odds of this game, I was like hesitant to do what we did again. I feel, do we dare strike twice? We did a pretty good job in game 3 nailing that plus 170. It looks like the sports books want to give that to us again. I think this game is contingent on one thing for me before I like say yes, give me the Canucks all the way. And that's, I want to make sure I know who's starting in net for Edmonton, because I'm not as convinced as you guys that it's automatically going to be Skinner. I mean, I haven't heard anything to the contrary, but it's still only 11 o'clock, so that can change before puck drop later tonight. I'm not convinced Skinner is automatically starting. So I could see Pickard getting behind the net. And if that happens, I'm not 100% set on picking Vancouver in this game. I think if that happens, I would stay away. If Skinner starts, I'm 100% taking the Vancouver plus money.
Hold the phone right there, and I have something to say about what just happened in my house too. That was a weird experience. But before you move on, and please do finish, Calvin Pickard is the only goalie lifted on DraftKings right now.
Oh boy.
The Vancouver goalie isn't even lifted, or listed rather. So
Okay.
there you go. You have your answer. Continue.
Mark, I appreciate that little bit of information there. That's
you.
Because it's very key for what I'm trying to predict tonight. I mean, I'm still not taking the Edmonton plus minus money regardless, but I think what I'm trying to say is if Pickard is behind the net, I'm not automatically jumping on the Vancouver plus money. I think that will make it more of a stay away game for me, because I really do believe that's going to provide a spark that that Edmonton quite frankly needs. And I might even go as far as to say bet a save prop if Pickard is the one available. Just because, like, honestly, I can't even pick a side, and I think the total now becomes a little more unpredictable with a change in goaltender. Over probably is the safer bet of the two for sure. After last time, I'm not betting an under again. Over 6.5, I'd probably be tempted anyway, because like Pickard, I think he'd be better than Skinner, but not expecting him to be a shutdown goaltender either. So maybe over 6.5 is the safest play here, but depending on how many saves the over-under is for Pickard, maybe consider that, because I would expect any type of production to be better. But the only thing is Skinner didn't really face a lot of shots, so it really did come down to what the number is.
Yeah, the save total for Pickard's over 23.5.
I'm not sure if he's going to face that many shots. That's my only hesitancy there.
Yeah. And the thing is like the Vancouver Canucks are not the Boston Bruins. Like Vancouver's scoring a bunch of goals in this series now. So, okay, first of all, my wife, when she sees a spider or any sort of bug in my house, I swear we're getting robbed. Like I just hear like like I'm terrified for my life. And then it's a spider and it's no big deal. I don't care about spiders. Okay. I got to fight for my pride and my ego here. This thing was like fat and furry and had like a booty, and like I was worried that it was coming after my life. I've never seen the spider in my life, and I'm in like Ontario, man. Like I don't know if that flew here like on my bananas or something. Like I don't know what that was, but it was terrifying. I just got to be honest with the people. Lots of transparency coming out of me today. One of the things I was transparent about was very serious and important, and the other one not even at all, but that was terrifying. Moving on to the game tonight. Andre, who did you pick for the game?
I picked the plus 170 for the Canucks.
Yeah, Skinner, Pickard, I don't care. I'm taking Vancouver. I said this the other night. I'm taking Vancouver plus 170. And if I lose, I lose. Vancouver's depth have come to play for this series. The fact that Edmonton is minus 205 now, they were minus 218. They're now minus 205. The interesting thing about this, though, Edmonton's minus 205. Half an hour ago, they were minus 218. Vancouver's number hasn't changed. Vancouver's number is still plus 170. Now, listen, I know that the sports books come up with their numbers based on analytics and all this stuff. I watch every single one of these games with my own eyes, and Edmonton is not a minus 205 favorite in this series. They're not. Their depth is an absolute no-show. Connor McDavid has been neutralized for 2 of the 3 games. Vancouver, they're playing hungrier. They're playing harder. No doubt that Edmonton has the game changers in this series, but we're starting to see the Vancouver team that we saw for the first half of the year. We're starting to see why they won the division. Shilovs, I would assume he starts tonight. This is an interesting debate. You're up 2-1 in the series. If Thatcher Demko comes back, unless Thatcher Demko is 100%, I wouldn't start him yet. And I know that he is one of the best goalies in the world. Obviously, if Thatcher Demko is 100%, the guy plays. But he was hurt for the last month of the season, comes back, plays what? A game? Maybe 2 in the Nashville series, gets hurt again. I wouldn't put him in yet. If he's back, and they did say he could be back for game 5. This was at the beginning of the series. I would just let Shilovs do his thing, man. Like, I wouldn't do anything. The guy was unreal. I think he had 42 saves in their win the other night. Just let him do his thing. So I'm taking Vancouver all day long. If I lose, I lose, but I'm riding with it. I'm also going to take Brock Besser. Gets 2 goals the other night. He has against the Oilers this season, and I know that a lot of these games were in the earlier part of the year. He has 7 goals and 12 points against the Oilers this season. I'll take a goal, plus 155. The guy scores 2 goals and he's plus 155. I'll take that, and give me the Canucks at plus 170. All right, moving on to our best bets, brought to you by First Round Collectibles. Right now, with our promo code SportsAddict, get 10% off every card in the First Round Collectibles store. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off dozens and dozens of cards. And with our promo code SportsAddict, not only do you get 10% off of regular price items, but sales items as well. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. That's the number 1. STRoundcollectibles.com. Use promo code SportsAddict for 10% off regular and sales price items. First Round Collectibles. Sports cards for sports fans. John, what is your best bet in the NHL tonight?
Just because I feel a lot more confident about this game than the later game tonight, I'm going to go with the Panthers puck line. I think that series is pretty much over. I don't even think they'll need an empty net to cover that. I just think they've shown that they're the better team, and the Bruins, they got 2 goals in game 4 that I feel like they were lucky to get, and they still couldn't win that game and hold on. So, yeah, give me the Panthers. I think they wrap it up tonight by multiple goals.
Love it. Andre, what about you, bro?
I'm going to stay with the same game because East Coast supremacy. Shout out to the East Coast. But in all seriousness, Bobrovsky under 22.5 saves. Bruins had 15 shots in game 2. Bruins had 17 shots in game 3. Bruins had 18 shots in game 4. Even in game 1, they had 29 shots. Bobrovsky only came up with 24 saves because he scored 5 times. So, you're asking that man to make 23 saves? I don't think he's going to face 23 shots. Not with the way Boston's been playing this postseason. So, give me the under on that.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Great deep dive into the stats, Andre, the analytics, if you will. Listen, we were all too chicken to do this the last time, if I remember correctly. I'm going to do it right now. Screw it. Vancouver Canucks plus 170. I'm doing it. I'm locking it in as my best bet. Listen, no disrespect to Calvin Pickard, okay? Like, sure, he's a great guy. He's the backup goaltender for the Edmonton Oilers. His stats have been fine. I wonder if I could pull this up real quick, because Skinner played a lot of games this year. Like, he played a lot. And to me, like, Stuart Skinner's a fine goalie. He played really well this year. We talked about it. Wow. I can't spell Calvin this morning. Stuart Skinner's been phenomenal this year, but he played a lot of hockey. And to me, there's a trustworthiness in Calvin Pickard that they just don't have. He played 23 games this season, 12-7 with a .909 save percentage. 2.45 goals against was fine. Backup goaltenders in the NHL nowadays play 35 plus games, and he only played 23. And so to me, and I know Jack Campbell had his run at the beginning of the year. That's another part of this conversation that we're not going to have that isn't being had. Jack Campbell is just a $5 million. Like, there's not even a debate about bringing him back, which I find to be fascinating. But anyway, give me Vancouver plus 170 all day.
Mark, I'm glad someone on this show has some cojones. Panthers.
I mean, really not. The spider just made me leave the show for 5 minutes. So I don't know. Maybe I don't.
I'm glad I'm drinking my coffee after that line.
Mark, I tried so hard, man.
I know. I had to just tell the truth.
Had to defend your rep. You couldn't let me. But the Panthers would have killed that spider for you. I'm sure of it.
Oh, they would have.
Both the mascot and the team, they seem like they're not scared of spiders. I don't know if Sunrise has spiders. That's not the point. Panthers back at home. Puck line -1.5 is plus 130. That's John's best bet. My best bet is from the same game. Sergei Bobrovsky. He's on the case. Under 22.5 saves, -110. I guess he's not on the case. It's more like the Bruins just don't show up. Whatever. Last line, going to Canada. Canucks, plus 170 in Edmonton. Parlay together, that's plus 1020. And I must say, one game is in Sunrise, Florida. The other game is in Edmonton, Alberta. Crazy travel right there.
It's a long way away. That's a long way away. And I will say about spiders in Sunrise, there are way worse things to worry about in Florida than spiders. There's a lot to worry about. Animals and other things. But anyway, before I offend the whole state of Florida, let's move on. Everybody, great show. Andre, John, appreciate you guys. Great show today. Everybody watching, whether you're watching live or throughout the day, we appreciate you. Total Apex Sports, we appreciate you. Head over to totalapexsports.com for lots of great content on the NHL playoffs and everything else. Do you love cricket? Total Apex Sports has it. Go over there, check it all out. First round collectibles, promo code SportsAg, 10% off. Enjoy the games tonight, and we will see you tomorrow.
Go hard.